Welcome back to Block TV. Time for Cryptonomics and another focus on Telegram's delayed launch of its TON token and promise. After the big splash of being confronted with a cease and desist SEC letter, that's a mouthful, to postpone its October 31st launch date to April, Telegram, which was looking to defend its case in court this week, will have to wait till February now to convince the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission that its Gram token is not a security. Confused, as are we, and so are the investors. But with more on what the people who invested $1.7 billion into the promise of TON, I am joined by none other than Block TV senior correspondent Asher Westrop-Evans. Asher, another letter sent to investors.
Yes, another in a slew of documents going back and forth between the SEC, Telegram, investors, all trying to keep informed and on top of each other in an ever-changing and shifting sands that is the Telegram Open Network launch. So the latest information we have is a letter sent to investors, an email sent out to investors stating that, yes, they are in fact going to move from this October 24th court hearing.
Which is supposed to be this week, reminding people a day after a Libra hearing on the Hill.
Exactly, Mark Zuckerberg up on the Hill. And so they were going to move, they're moving beyond that hearing. Apparently some preliminary hearings that were held on the 18th of this month, and now they've come out and said, okay, we're not going to have this hearing on the 24th. We no longer need to do that. But wait, that's good news, Yael. And I'll tell you why, and I'll quote from the email directly where Telegram states to its investors, the February hearing is different from the one previously scheduled for October 24th because in the February hearing, Telegram anticipates asking the court to rule on the core argument that grams are not securities. So apparently, the much vaunted...
It's kind of like, let me do a corporate translation. We actually cut the middle process. This is going to be the one-stop shop of us convincing the SEC that we are not a security.
Exactly right. That apparently the October 24th hearing, as much as people were excited and started saying this is a significant date, wasn't that significant. They weren't actually going to get that much done, but now they'll get a lot done, Yael. Look, they see it as a positive step. They've stated to investors, this is a good thing. This means we're actually getting a ruling on a core, ruling on our sort of key point. Whether or not the courts will rule with them.
To be fair, sources close to the dealings of Telegram have told us that they were quite shocked at Telegram by that cease and desist.
Exactly.
According to them, and again, just their side and per sources, everything was in the bag. The SEC was alerted.
Exactly. The sources speaking to Block TV have said that they were very blindsided with this letter. Something you can see in the legal response that was sent to the SEC. This was released. That response released a couple of days ago, in which they said they'd been working alongside the SEC for 18 months. They believed they were on track, and so they felt very blindsided. But now they're saying we have additional information from our own sources saying that they have actually, Telegram has gone ahead and spoken to each investor personally, above and beyond that letter that was sent out, trying to shore up support, whip up support, as it were, if we use the parliamentary sense, for making sure that they can get this vote passed. Because this important thing to remember, Yael, before October 31st, before that sunset clause deadline comes in which investors are entitled back about 77% of their initial investment of that $1.7 billion, they have to hold a vote with the two rounds of investors, the ones who bought at 37 cents and the ones that bought at $1.33, to decide whether or not they're willing to allow this postponement to April 30. Now, again, according to our sources inside Telegram, they're saying that most investors appear to want to be on board with this plan. They've waited 2 years. It seems they'll be willing to wait a few more months to see if they can get that return on investment. So it seems, at least from our internal sources and reporting, that they are going to be able to get this delay till April. What that means moving forward and whether the SEC is going to rule in their favor, obviously still very much.
And I think a lot of it depends also, and this is you and I theorizing, and what happens with Libra, parallel to everything. To remind viewers, users, that Libra is going up the hill with the main man this week. And I do think that whatever will be decided, or will have an effect on what the SEC decides, what it decides about, what is decided about Libra in those regulator meetings.
Exactly right. I mean, and as they say, when it comes to something like this, timing is everything. What comes down to the fact that Telegram, for better or worse, in their own instance, ran into the wall that is the Libra sort of crackdown, the sort of greater awareness by governments and regulators, particularly in the US and Europe, that, hey, we're not really so keen on these big projects going ahead. Telegram, which had been managing to scoot under the radar, suddenly gets thrown into that limelight saying, well, hold on, if Libra's getting this, and there are even some speculation out there that Libra might be behind the crackdown on Telegram, saying, hey, if you're giving us all this guff about it, then why isn't Telegram receiving the same standards? Again, that's purely speculative.
It was speculative, but I think the perfect storm of Libra pushing so strongly ahead, while not succeeding at this point, but being in a process, so to speak, with U.S. regulators, has affected Telegram.
And that's the thing. Libra has been, compared to Telegram, Libra has been a lot more open and public with their dealings. I mean, Telegram was notoriously secretive and behind closed doors, not even really admitting the project existed until they released
6 months ago.
Realistically, the terms and conditions they released 2 weeks ago were the first formal announcement to the public-facing view that they existed. Libra obviously is a very different setup. They are trying to work with regulators, whether successfully or not, but trying to be very much in the public eye and show this is a project of the people and this is by the people for the people. Well, maybe not by the people, as long as it's by the people who have over $10 million. But that's their sort of stated goal. So I guess that parallel is not working in Telegram's favor at the moment. But it seems like the can is being kicked down the road to April. They do have that court date though, and they claim they're going to be able to rule.
And they seem to be optimistic from the lingo of that letter, of the latest letter.
Certainly,
which of course, but as we said, David Marcus also thinks everything is
exactly.
awesome.
Well, from the public marketing facing perspective, you're not going to.
Everything is awesome. Everything is okay. As we said, the highlight of this, or the headline of this, is Ton's date in court has been postponed to February. Their promise of a launch now to April. Let's see what happens. We were Cryptonomics and Block TV. We'll be right back.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.